Hello, everybody. We're going to get ready to get started, so you guys won't be held up too long. We experienced some technical difficulties a little early today, so thank you for the few that made it through. Trying to give folks a little time to get on here now. Today is a special presentation day for us because many of you have, just about everybody has conceptualized the idea of doing a live show. All of you right now are faced with certain issues with regard to social distancing and such. But one thing that we all got to work on is our online reach. And some of us are succeeding, but many of us are failing. Now, a lot of artists think that I am some kind of social networking guru. I am not a social networking guru, but what I do is that I have a habit of posting regularly. I've had so many discussions with artists and artisans about the social networking environment, and I've come to the conclusion that artists are really snobs when it comes to social networking. We just feel like it's like our mailbox outside of our front door, and it's not. And so what I'm hoping will happen today is that we can demystify some of that. What I will say is that wherever you are in your social marketing, whether it be just having a Facebook page or having a business Facebook page or Instagram or whatever, our presenter today want to really open your eyes to some things that are available to you. I want to introduce you to Aaron Rice. Aaron Rice is with Uberlux Media. He is one of the people who was responsible for doing my virtual reality tour of my studio. If many of you haven't seen it, you can go to Instagram, click the link tree underneath of my profile photograph, and go down to virtual reality, and you'll see the job that Mr. Aaron Rice did. He also has a really good, keen sense on online reach. So what he's going to do is he's going to actually show you, he took me as an example. He did an overview of what my online reach looked like. And what I'm hoping he'll do is inspire you to do the same thing. Everybody's got to start at a certain point, and I can tell you that everybody on the screen can improve in this area. I am trying to improve in this area as much as I can because I realize now with this new normal, this is going to be the primary way I reach my customers. And I'm taking that very seriously, and I'm challenging you all to take that very seriously too. Most of us are used to seeing each other all over the country doing shows, and that won't be happening this year. But I think that if we start planting seeds in this area right now, it's going to change the profile of all of our businesses. So I'm not going to get in too deep with that. I'll interject a little bit later, but for right now, I'm going to introduce you to Aaron Rice. He's going to take over, and I hope you guys are taking some notes because this information is going to be very, very important. Now, we plan to try to do this session a few times, so you may get another email. Hopefully it'll run smoother this time. So here we go. Aaron Rice, introducing Mr. Aaron Rice.
Test, test, 1, 2. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, got a couple nods there. So thank you so much, Poncho. I appreciate the invitation to share with your group. Good solid group here. And basically, I don't come from the art world. I'm actually very new to it. Thank you to my friend Glenna, who introduced me to Poncho. I come from the real estate world, and I market real estate, new homes, custom homes in the $1 million plus price range. And so the way we get business sometimes is doing social media SWOT analysis on real estate to show how we can market a home differently than maybe the agent who was previously hired to do that. And so I've done that for a couple of hundred real estate agents over the years. And then now I'm actually taking that same model into different businesses and different entities to be able to help people from kind of a 30,000 foot view, kind of look at their total social media presence and then try to find congruency from me getting your business card to when I Google you or go to Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, is it congruent across all the networks? And for small businesses, it's oftentimes that it's not congruent because we spend a lot of time on the network that we like the most, whether it be Facebook or Instagram. And there may be some other opportunities that we might be missing out on just because it's not our favorite network. And so, you know, that's kind of what I've been working with Poncho with, is just kind of spreading his message throughout different networks using kind of tech-forward technology to be able to do that. And so what we're going to do today is just do what's called a social media SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I'm going to go and just search Poncho's name. You guys can follow through. And the goal is at the end of the day to find congruency. And if there's not congruency, to be able to help and give some tips on, you know, different ways that he can improve it. And then if anyone on the call today is interested on kind of a one-on-one consultation, then we can do that based on kind of where you are and where you're trying to go. Does that sound fair? Everybody good? Everybody can hear me okay? Cool. All right. So let's see if this screen share is doing what screen share does. Host disabled, attendee screen share. Need you to turn it on for me, Poncho.
Let me see what we got here. Okay, try it now.
All right. Let's see if this one will work.
You are in.
Right. Does everybody see the Zoom logo on my screen? Yes? Okay.
Yes, everybody's muted, so they're not going to respond.
Understood, understood. All right, so what we're going to do, what I do first is I go to Google, right? We always want to start there. And, you know, what I'll do is I'll search, what I'm going to do is start with Larry's name. Larry Poncho Brown, right? I'll probably start there just because, let's say I've never met Poncho before and all I got was a business card from somebody gave me a business card and said, hey, if you want, you know, beautiful art, there's a brother in Baltimore, here's his card, check him out, okay? And that's what I'm doing, I'm checking him out. And first I wanna Google him. I wanna see, based on COVID-19, is he open, is he not open? You know, where's his location? And so, you know, based on what I can see on Google, he's got great placement here on Google, doing a great job. Rarely do I find anyone having any challenges on Google, but raise your hand if you've Googled yourself. Raise your hand if you've Googled yourself. If you haven't Googled yourself, I encourage you to do that like ASAP, because there could be someone with the same name that you have that doesn't do what you do and does the opposite of what you do. And it could involve a poll of some sort. So make sure that you're Googling your name. And then I also like to just kind of scroll through, because sometimes, you know, if a customer should have any negative feedback about your business or a business, you want to make sure that at least that first page of Google is nice and clean and there aren't any issues. Another thing that Poncho's doing great over here is he's registered his business. So this is great. It's got all his correct information. He's open, hours, phone number, all that's great. And so he's done that perfectly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna act like a consumer. I'm gonna act like I don't even know Larry, and I wanna go ahead and just click on his website and see what pops up. All right, great. So now I'm on his website, and I don't know about you, but you know, everybody's computer habits are different. What I like to do, especially for this type of genre, is I always like to find that Instagram tab for me to click on and just follow them on Instagram. It's real easy, and now in their feed, Facebook, same thing, Twitter maybe. But right here, I don't see the tab like right what we call above the fold. The fold is kind of what I see from join your mailing list all the way to the top is above the fold. So I want to see it real easy where I can just click on that Instagram button and I can immediately start following. What I see a lot of times is the social media links for a lot of people are at the very bottom of their websites. I see it here in the middle on Facebook. And then I don't see that kind of string of Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest icons to make it real easy. So here's the Facebook one. And on some websites, what we see is that when we click that Facebook, it'll go to Wix or whoever your website creator was. It doesn't even necessarily go to you. So check your links, you know, on your websites to make sure that they're going to the right places. And so this is great. It goes directly to where he wants it to go, which is right to his Facebook page, which is awesome. But let's go back. We're going to just back arrow here. So what I would love to see on Poncho's site is the social media icons right up here. There is a little bit of real estate that you could use. You could even put it up here in this darkened section up here. Make it real easy for me to click on your social media icons and follow you on social. And then also what I would encourage Poncho to do is maybe add a language translation flag. So that he can actually translate his website into different languages to really be able to, you know, really enhance his overall reach on a global basis. But that's the immediate first thing that I'll do on the Google search. And then I might go here as well, which is the first link that comes up, and click on that, see where that goes. And that one's coming back to the site about Larry. So this is all great. But again, I'd love to see those social media icons above the fold and language translation. And especially in my industry, where we sell a lot of properties to international buyers, language translation is a definite differentiator when we're going up against some heavy hitters in my industry. All right, so that's Google. Now, what I want to do is go to Facebook. And, you know, going live on Facebook is always a risky thing because you never know what's going to pop up on somebody's page. But let's see here. Larry Poncho Brown. Okay. So go to Facebook. And then there's a lot of Larry Browns. So he comes up first, which is great. And he's got that nice image, which is a spherical image, a photosphere, which was captured when we did the 360. One of the things that I'll also recommend as well, I'll click on this image header. It's called the image header. And he updated that, he posted that January 17th is what it looks like. And what I'm encouraging people to do is update that, consider updating that on a weekly basis, especially with the genre that you're in. You're in the art business. Right? You always want to be promoting new pieces. And for me in the real estate industry, I always want to be promoting different places within the home. We've taken 50 photos. We want to be able to highlight, you know, those different pieces. And every time you make a post here in your cover, of course, it becomes a post here in your news feed. And I've noticed that sometimes people haven't changed that image header in not only a couple of months, but a couple of years. So I encourage you to kind of freshen that up. And another great thing is that Poncho's avatar is nice and big. It's got his face in it. And the reason that's important is because when he posts on other people's pages, you can see that that's him. Versus, I don't know who this is, but I can't even look at that person right there, no core advocacy, and even identify the face. So this avatar image is perfect. Make it big, make it kind of just a facial shot or a logo or something like that. And then you can see mine, I use a little avatar, but you want to fill that space with your avatar. So that's great. We're not even friends. Well, that's because your page is too big and my page is too big. So, you know, I just want to try to friend somebody. And then I'll scroll through. Poncho's, of course, does his live streams here. So seeing a lot of video content that's congruent with his brand. A lot of times we'll post content that isn't necessarily congruent with our brand. But as you can see, this page is very much on brand. And he's very
I want to interrupt for 1 second, Aaron. I also have a business page which for some reason did not show up in the search when you did Larry Poncho Brown. So that's something I'm going to look at.
Sure. So again, this is what we're looking at is your personal page. Now, what I would like to see is, let's say you and I went to elementary school together, and I'm just connecting with you on Facebook because that's one of the things Facebook is good for. And whoa, okay, great. How do I reach out? What's he doing now? I want to click on this about section, and then I want to, on this place where it says no workplaces to show, this is where I want to connect to your business page right here.
Okay.
In your about section. All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
And so that's one recommendation, is that about section is broken, and or sometimes people have it going to their last employer. In the real estate industry, it goes to their international brokerage headquarters in Austin, Texas. It doesn't go to them. So this link should always go back to your business page, and that's in your about section. All right. So everything's kind of looking good there on the personal page. The only recommendation I would make is just, update that header on more of a consistent basis. And on your personal page, you can do 3D movement. On a business page, you can do a 90-second video, which you've done on your business page. I've seen that, so that's great. All right, so from Facebook, what we'll do is we'll go to Twitter. And I know most small businesses that I work with, Twitter's not their thing. I get that. But your clients on Twitter, okay? Your customers on Twitter. And it only takes a few more seconds for you to post your content onto Twitter, okay? So I searched Larry's name, and what's coming up is his artwork, which is great, but it's not him posting his artwork. Ron Joseph is pushing Larry out, which is great. I would want, if it were my business, to have a little bit more control over that, but this is good. The last post on Twitter from when I'm searching his name was January 19th, or January 2019. And then here's Larry's page, which is a little bit farther down. And so let's go ahead and click on his page. And a lot of times this header doesn't have any content, which I call wasted real estate, okay, on the Twitter feed. So if you don't have an image of some sort there, and preferably that image is congruent with your website, your Facebook, and all the way through, it's the same congruent image. That's kind of the next phase, is making that image congruent. Having an image there at all is the first step. So if you don't have an image there, let's get it there. Looks like he's tweeted 6,300, almost 6,400 times, which is great. Twitter's a tough one. And let me make a disclosure. I'm not like a social media guru. I don't have millions of followers on any network. I believe more in engagement. I'd rather have 1 or 2 followers and engage with those 1 or 2 people than to have 1 million people and not have any engagement at all. But what you will do is you'll find me on all the different social media networks under Aaron Rice Helps. That's my moniker on social. So he's following 500 people and he's got 673 followers. That's the way you want to see that ratio, okay? As opposed to being following 6,300 people and only having 600 followers, right? You want to make sure you got more people following you than you're following in a perfect world, okay? This is great, seeing a lot of great images. Always want to be making sure that when you post, you've got an image with your post. It's not just text. A lot of times we have these automated posts where you post once and it posts to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I would discourage that. I would discourage any auto posting because
I'm guilty of the auto posting.
Yeah, auto posting is dangerous because all it takes is for a local, national, world catastrophe to happen, and all of a sudden you've posted something that's not on tune. Okay, it's better to just probably not post during certain times, right? Rather than having an auto post function. So I would discourage that. And each network has its own ecosystem, right? So when you typically, do an auto post to Facebook, when it gets to Twitter, it's just a text. It's not a full-blown post.
And the ones you see
within
now will have images on it, were forwarded from my email program that I use.
Mm-hmm.
It takes the image right over.
Right. But even, yeah, it does. So the program you're using is working from that regard. A lot of times it just comes over as text. But net at the end of the day, you all are in the image business and the art business. Rather than a post with just text, we want to have lots of images, which is great. All right. Yeah, so as we see down here, the auto feed kind of just.
And my auto feeds that come from Facebook don't have images with them. They have a link to an image.
Right, right. And the link goes back to Facebook. So,
right.
and Facebook and Twitter aren't friends. And people on Twitter only want to see Twitter stuff. They don't want to go to another network.
Right.
Right. Okay, so that's Twitter. All right, so next, let's go to LinkedIn. And again, this is a social media SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So let's go ahead, Larry Poncho Brown. There we go. All right, so we are connected. One of the first things I'm looking for is that image here. So Twitter, LinkedIn is congruent, right? Same image all the way through, same imagery. It's very congruent. I'm glad to see that you have an image here. A lot of times I see that space as no image at all, which again, I consider wasted real estate. You really want to make sure you have an image there, and consider changing it up every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Also down here, you've got with LinkedIn, whether you have 500 connections or 12,000 connections, it'll always say 500 plus. But if you have less than 500 connections, people visiting you will know it, okay? They'll know it. And the worst thing in my opinion, the worst thing you could do is have less than 500 connections on LinkedIn. And I know some people are like, well, LinkedIn's not my thing. I get that, but it really should be your thing. And I'll show you a few reasons why. I always like to see, it's really always cool when I can see that we've got mutual connections, of which, Larry and I have 205. And then I'll always just kind of go through and say, okay, cool. Kind of look at his resume or what have you. But the reason that I love LinkedIn is, if I'm trying to search a business, I want to get my artwork in a business. Larry, give me an example of a business that you might be looking to go after, to put your artwork in, or a business that you're looking to affiliate with in some way, shape, or form. For me in my industry,
put in here, let me see.
Something that's easy to spell.
Now, look, I know John Baker III is laughing. We had a conversation on spelling this week. Black art in America. Just put Black art in America.
All right, so, okay, here, Najee Dorsey?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say I was trying to get in contact with Najee to build a business relationship with him. Number one, I'm gonna send a connection request. That didn't cost anything, okay? And I got a 50-50 chance of him replying, okay? I'm just gonna immediately send a connection request. And Najee is a male, yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We've got two mutual connections, right? Mm-hmm. So what I might do is I might send Poncho a message. Actually, what I would do is I send Poncho a message and say, hey, Poncho, I'm trying to get in contact with Najee. Would you mind making an introduction?
Gotcha.
And then I'll also send an email to Frank Anderson. Hey, Frank, I'm trying to get in contact with Najee. Would you mind making a connection?
Okay.
That's the first place I would go. And then secondly, I would go here to Black Art in America, LLC. And looks like that's his individual company. Let's say he worked at Community College. This example is not working properly. Let me give you another example. So again, I'm in the real estate industry. So take out real estate out of this example, but if you're looking to go after a company for your business purposes, you would type in the company name. And then what I would do is there are 6,184 employees that work at that company that are on LinkedIn. If I'm really trying to get in with this company, I will go ahead and start sending connection requests to relevant people within that company. And so far by doing that, I've got 24 people that raised their hand and said, yes, I want to be connected with you. So if I was trying to get in contact with the CEO or the regional director of this particular company, I would literally go ahead and message, like if I'm trying to get in contact with Ryan Hawk, who's the division president at Lennar here in Maryland, I would go, and he's not responding to any of my messages, I would go in here and send a message to Donna. I would send a message to Robert. Hey, you've been trying to get in contact with Ryan. I hope he's okay, right? Can you have him give me a shout? And all it's going to take is one of them to hit me back and say, hey, he's in the next cubicle. He's got your message. He said, I'll get back to you later on today. Okay. There's no other social media platform that you can do that on other than LinkedIn. On top of the fact that LinkedIn is where all of your white collar, high net worth individuals are as well. And you saw how easy it is if you're trying to get in with NIH or FDA or a particular company that you're trying to set up and do an exhibit at their company, somebody that's on your hit list or what have you. LinkedIn is the best way to try to find them. So strongly encourage you to focus a lot of energy on LinkedIn for sure. How are we doing on time, Poncho?
Doing good, man.
Awesome. All right, so now let's go to YouTube. All right, so we'll go ahead and search Larry Poncho Brown. All right, so so what I'll do before I click on that first link, which he obviously has a channel, sometimes I'll just scroll through. And I like to ask this question all the time, and chime in, unmute yourself and chime in. Who owns YouTube?
Google.
Excellent, excellent. I had one person say Twitter. I was like, no. So yeah, Google owns it. So Google is the #1 search engine on the web. You know, nobody Yahoo's you, right? Nobody AOL's you. Everybody Google's you, right? So if YouTube is owned by Google, YouTube is now the 2nd largest search engine on the planet. So YouTube is one of those networks that you really want to be all chips in. You really want to be all chips in. Hopefully, when you're doing your live streams, you're also simulcasting on YouTube as well. You're also simulcasting on YouTube because of the Google juice. All right. So let's go ahead and click on Larry. Looks like he's got 392 subscribers. Got some awesome video content, right? His YouTube channel is looking real good. Looking real good. Lots of content there. Not even caught up in the view count. Not even caught up in any of that. Just focused on really just, is he there? Does he have a presence there? YouTube happens to be my favorite social media network. I'm very much into tech and gear for what I do for my business. And everything that I own, from the computer to the cell phone, you know, to the drone that I use, everything was a YouTube review. And there was probably some 12-year-old that told me why I should get this mouse, right? So I live on YouTube. I listen to all my music on YouTube, right? So definitely want to make sure that you have a presence there. Nice image header up top. So you know, there's a lot of places you could go with your YouTube channel, but from what I'm seeing here, looks great. Looks great. It's not easy to get subscribers on your YouTube channel, but
It's not. It's a
the only
painful process.
it is a painful process. The best thing you could do is just be consistent with it,
And
right?
keep
Just be
adding
consistent with it
content. And keep adding content.
and keep adding content. And realize that these networks, these social networks, their ecosystem runs very native to the network. So your Facebook video that you did, or excuse me, your Instagram vertical video that somebody did, don't put that on YouTube because YouTube doesn't do vertical video.
Right.
Right? So you need to be very careful, and Facebook doesn't do vertical video, right? So you got to be very careful about what network you're on and how you're posting the pixels on that particular network so it formulates properly. And so the only thing I would say to Larry, his last video post was 2 months ago, right? A lot's happened since then. I mean, he's doing his weekly live streams. I would love to see those live streams on the channel. Because there's a whole group of customers that are waiting for you to post content there, and it's not there. So that will be my recommendation there.
Okay.
All right. So let's go to Pinterest.
Do Instagram first.
Instagram first?
Yes. Save Pinterest for last.
Okay. Let's go to the Insta, the IG. All right, let's see if we can enlarge this a little bit. All right, so now we'll go to Larry Poncho Brown. There we go. First one comes up. And I think I'm not seeing, most people are doing okay on Instagram. Most people are doing okay on Instagram. In the regards of their posting content on Instagram. The one thing that I would like to see is more video content. I see that he has his packing video here, it looks like. Yep.
Okay, Deli Monster.
Yep, very interesting video. I'd love to see more video content on channels. This is a great place to be able to create those little 60-second vignettes that can go right into the feed, or you can post to IGTV as well. But I would say for every 1 or 2, 3 posts, I would want to see some video content. And think about, especially if you're live streaming, you're creating content. There's no reason why you couldn't go back and repurpose some of your content for these particular streams. So, for me, when I'm doing real estate videos, luxury videos, my videos are, 2 to 3 minutes long, right? And so what we do is we do a small 60-second vignette just for Twitter and Instagram, right? So you want to just be very cautious or very, mindful of the network that you're on and the content that you're creating. So great feed, lots of great images. The only recommendation I would make is I'd love to see more video here, because video's king, queen, however you want to say it, but video dominates for sure. All right. Another thing up top here is a lot of times I'll see that these two numbers inverted. You've got 6,367 posts and 1,000 followers. What that's saying to the world is that your content is not connecting. In a perfect world, you want to have, 100 posts and 1,000, 2,000 followers, right? I'm not so concerned about how many people you're following, more so just making sure that it appears as though the content that you're creating is resonating with your followers, which of course it is, because this number is lower than the followers. Hopefully that makes sense. But Instagram is an interesting animal, but doing a great job on this page. Good job. All right, can we go to Pinterest?
Yes.
All right. All right, so let me move this over a little bit. We'll search. Larry Poncho Brown. All right. So the reason I'm doing all this is critical to do, and I know some of you might be like, well, I'm not on Pinterest. Pinterest isn't, I don't spend any time there. 75% of Pinterest users are females, okay? And Pinterest, the mindset of the Pinterest user is this is their cork board. This is, you know, I'm getting ready to get these pair of shoes in this color, and I'm just gonna pin it on my, you know, virtual cork board, right? So that's kind of how people look at Pinterest. And, you know, this particular page is littered with awesome content from Poncho. Ideally, when you click on any image, and I'm just going to click on a random image, this should go back to your website, yes, or the website of the person that posted it, right? So this goes back to Find Out in America because that's the one who posted it. That's a critical piece to Pinterest, is making sure that whenever you post something, that image, video, you know, you can add a hyperlink to it, that it goes back to your content, okay?
Mm-hmm. Now, I admit to the group, I do not and have not done Pinterest. Everything that's on Pinterest was put there by other people. So with all of the stuff he's talking about with my whole profile, this is where I physically would want to put more time in. I'm going to put more time into Pinterest. I never knew about the demographic of women being the viewers on Pinterest. And I also didn't see it being one of my priorities to post on Pinterest. But if it's going to broaden my reach, then this is where I'm going to focus first.
Absolutely. And all of the networks are ripe for video content as well. There is no limit on the length of a video. So on Pinterest.
Okay.
So, you know, if you've already done your live stream, when you're done with it, it's already, you know, a video. The advantage of simulcasting on YouTube is that when you hit stop, you've got a YouTube video that then you can use that hyperlink and share it wherever you want. Embed link, you can share it so many more places than the Facebook link. Google's friendly in that regard to the share. So I would love to see, number one, I'd love to see Larry's channel come up. And he just said, hey, I don't really spend a lot of time there.
I think if you look under the Art of Poncho, I might have an old one there that's been there probably 10 years, and I've never posted anything on it. Mm-hmm. The Art of Poncho.
Let's see. We got ponchos.
Here you go.
But again, you know, and my feedback when I see something like this is you've got an awesome opportunity to kill it with the Art of Poncho on Instagram, right? Yeah, exactly. Critical thing is make sure you've got a Pinterest channel. Please do not leave this out. But here's an art piece, but again, it goes back to the fine art, right? Please do not leave Pinterest out. If you're already posting your content on social media, it takes another 60 seconds to add an image and link it back to your website. It takes no time at all. Just don't leave it out, okay? It's really that important.
Now, Aaron, do you advise that a person does that? Like if I decided I was going to catch up on Pinterest, do you decide, should I just go like this, like my YouTube channel? Should I just start putting stuff in? Should I try to do it like I do Instagram, where I post every couple of days? What's the best way for me to start engaging Pinterest?
Yes, and yes. There's no wrong way to do it. I don't think anybody's challenge is that they feel like they're posting too much. You can never post too much. You know, I follow Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, who says you should be posting 60 pieces of content a day.
Wow.
And he does it. Okay. So
is that a full-time gig?
Well, he's got a media company, so that's what he does.
Okay, I got you.
Everybody else is doing it.
Okay. What's that?
It sounds like he has other people doing it. It sounds like it's a job for an employee.
Yeah, he does, but then he does post a lot of his own content as well. Meaning when people reply back, sometimes you can get him directly. But he has a 1,000-person media company for sure. But yes, he does have help. There's no question about that. So to answer your,
can I ask you this? In terms of the your demographics here, us as artists, what would be the amount of content that would get us going? There's no way that I personally will post 60 pieces of materials per day. So it's a good start to do once a day.
That's an easy question. Before he even gets to that question, to that answer, just try posting once a day, twice a day, once a day on all your platforms. I post once a day or once every 2 days on one platform. But see, I'm doing it unlike he said do it. When I post on Facebook, it goes to Twitter and it goes to LinkedIn. Okay? So it saves me some time, but now he's saying I need to personally engage those pages. And that's something I'm going to try to do to pick up my slack. So don't worry about having 60. I ain't even going to do 60. But if you're not doing one a day, you're out of sync.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do one a week and just, the key is the consistency of it. And like I said, everyone on this call has no shortage of inventory, ideas, or content. That's not anybody on this call's challenge. The challenge is just getting it out there and getting uncomfortable, meaning posting it on networks that you might not really be used to posting on. But the goal is, and in no way am I saying that when you post on Instagram, or excuse me, on Pinterest, that all of a sudden the floodgates are going to start opening. All I'm saying is that 70% of Pinterest users are female, and you could be missing out on a huge demographic, especially for a network that's big on imagery. Yeah. So once a week is great. Once a day if you can do it, but just do it all over all the rest of the mediums. And it shouldn't take you any more than 7 to 10 minutes to just knock that out. It's a lifestyle.
I can tell you that I usually spend the first hour of my day posting something. And that's every day. It's kind of like he said, it's a lifestyle. It's just a habit to post once or twice a day. And so my momentum has been built and it becomes a habit. And so my thing is, if you can make it a habit, and you know, all of us are visual people, it should not be an issue. Now we can talk later. I'm going to have another seminar where we talk about imaging, scanning, JPEGs, TIFFs, because I see some horrible things happening with a lot of my artists when it comes to doing their imagery. But for this, you just keep an open folder of JPEGs and you post.
Great question.
So we're going to open the floor. It's about 2:06. We're going to open the floor. I try to make everybody keep their microphones muted so that if we're sharing the same sound stream, so background noise can become a problem. So rather than raising hands, if you have a question you want to ask, you can unmute your microphone and direct any questions to Mr. Rice. Y'all got to have some questions now. All of y'all.
I have a question.
Yes.
You spoke on auto post.
On what? Auto post, yes.
Yeah, auto post. I find auto post to be awesome because you don't have to go to these various different platforms. Especially, I just found on Facebook business page, you can also link it to Instagram. And I'm like, oh, because it saves time. Time is of the essence. It's like there's only 24 hours in a day, and the time goes by so fast where there's so many things to do because most of us are sole business owners. So can you speak again to auto post? Also, I use Constant Contact, and Constant Contact allows me to post on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and a few others.
The biggest challenge that I see with auto posting is it's not, a lot of times these different networks run natively, right? A lot of times, especially for Twitter, a lot of times that auto post to Twitter, and I know you didn't mention that, and the ones that you auto post to, it'll come through just as text. And one of the things that you're missing by auto posting is engaging with people on those particular platforms. You know what I mean?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I do check them back. So
Sure.
if I auto post, I do go back in to make sure it auto posted. It said what I wanted it to say.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone had a comment to me, I do respond. So I do check it. So I think what, to your point is, you're saying if you auto post, maybe there's no back and forth conversation.
Well, you're very rare in the sense that you go back and check it.
You are. And
most people don't go back and check.
I want to interject for a second too. All right. So yes, you are. If you're forwarding stuff, that's fantastic because at least you're circulating content.
Right.
Most of the people on this screen are not circulating any content. So he's not saying do either or. He's telling you how it works. So that means that, like, for instance, if I'm automatically forwarding and it's going to Twitter, now I know I could take a day out of my week and send something to Twitter to offset my auto forwards. He's trying to show you how to expand your reach. It's not an either or. He's telling you how it operates so we can have a better idea of how it works. And we can figure out because you're not exclusive from anybody in the group. I got folks in this just got full-time jobs and they got 5,000 things doing, children, caregiving, whatever. That has nothing to do with carving out a habit to post. And so it doesn't matter. You don't have to go aggressive, but I want everybody in the group to really say, this is going to be a page that I add to my arsenal, because I know that if I had to do a real check with everybody here, at least 70% of you are not doing a sufficient job. And it's if you're doing a live, you're going to see it almost immediately affect your live. And some of us have got dormant. We haven't done anything in a while. And so this is the new age now, y'all. We got to re-engage on some of the things we didn't want to do because it was, we were being bougie about it. Now, if you're talking about we're not going to be on the road, all that time you spend driving and flying and flipping and setting up and breaking down, post. Simply stated.
Mm-hmm. I have one other question. You mentioned YouTube does not use vertical content. Is that in terms of how you position your camera, vertical versus horizontal? Is that?
Yes.
You can post a vertical video, which is this.
But right? It's going to put the bars on the side. It's
going to put the bars on the side, and that's not native to the platform.
Right.
What you want to be doing is posting landscape.
Right. You want to maximize your real estate. Like I see people posting their lives with horizontals. I can see if you're on Instagram because you have to. But your screen is wide. Keep in mind that rectangle is kind of the universal symbol right now. And so you should be thinking that way first. I saw Sandra Davis's show the other day and hers was vertical. Then her first show was vertical. Then she switched it and she was able to show a lot more stuff. So these little things that we're going to be covering in these meetings are going to just be little tidbits that's going to help demystify some of the stuff that we're dealing with right now. As image makers and as jewelers and as craftsmen, this is powerful, powerful information that many of your peers are not going to have the time to do. And so that's what I'm saying is that if you wonder how my reach has gotten the way it's gotten, it's because I do a little bit every day. A little bit every day. I don't care what it is. My business, my personal page is still business. And my business page is straight business. So that's another thing that we're doing. Y'all might have two pages where your first page is family and friends. And I'm not discouraging that. Everybody should have a separate place to do that. But if you're about business, then you have full right to do whatever you want to do in those pages.
And if I could say something real, my analysis that I do, this is probably the first time I've done it in a group type scenario, because everybody's situation is different. You're Corinthia, did I pronounce that right? You got your automation on. It feels like it's working, which it probably is for you. but other people haven't even done that. Some people are like, well, I'm not going to start doing it. So everybody's situation is different. And so our social media SWOT analysis are very custom. And our solutions and recommendations are very custom based on the individual and kind of where they're trying to go and where they're trying to be. So there's no blanket answer that covers everybody on the call.
Yeah,
So,
I'd like to go back to constant contact for a second. So I do post on various networks, and I take the time to make sure that the image is formatted for that platform. Does constant contact auto post support any of that? Does an image go with all the auto posts? First question. Secondly, does it change the format, or one size fits all?
no, whatever image you are assigned to that email is the image it's going to show on your social network.
Yeah.
So naturally, if you're thinking about that, you know, the square is also a powerful shape on social networking. You see Instagram is mostly a square, even though you can even make that rectangular. So in Facebook is prime real estate for it to be a square. So as long as you're within the square and the rectangle and knowing how to use them both, you're going to be fine. But that vertical image with the ghosted color on the side,
right.
That's not good use of the space.
Okay. So one more time, make sure I understood. So with constant contact, auto post sends the image goes along with the text.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's what you saw happening when he did the SWOT analysis on my Twitter. My Facebooks were coming in as links with no image, but my constant contacts was sharing the image.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
I have another question. Right now I do my lives on my personal Facebook page. I want to know how and when do I move everything to my business page?
I right now, I think that you can do it at any point. You just have to really look at how you're going to do it. Some of us now are venturing into other streaming platforms, and Mr. Rice knows a little bit about that too. If you want to do multiple platforms like YouTube and some of the other ones, then you might want to use StreamYard or Switcher or a couple of the other platforms. But each one of those platforms may require a little bit more attentiveness. In other words, Facebook you can just do yourself. But when you do StreamYard or Switcher, you're probably going to need a second person to help you orchestrate that, unless you really understand how the program works. I know a few people that can do it by themselves. Okay.
Does it require multiple devices on StreamYard?
Yes.
My immediate answer to that is you could do both today if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question about Zoom. You know, everybody now is actually using Zoom. So how does that fit in the context of moving it from one platform to another?
Well, Zoom is a conferencing program, and some of the ones we're talking about now are streaming programs. And it's a fine line between the two of them and how they're shared. You can actually share a Zoom publicly to Facebook, but you got to pay for the business plan to be able to have that accessibility. And so that's what we're really going to be learning through this group, is multiple ways to stream to multiple platforms, because most of us started out with Facebook, and naturally we're going to want to venture out. In my case, I have my personal page and my business page. I was only doing on my business page because I thought, well, that's where I have the most followers, and it's an unlimited, I can get unlimited followers on that page. But then I realized I have 5,000 people on my personal page. So I simply set up a second camera to do both channels. Now, if I got the business plan of Facebook, it would have done it seamlessly. You know, so you got to really use your head on how you want to strategize moving to that second platform. I have had people try to do Facebook and Instagram together. That's a very cumbersome thing because Facebook and they don't operate the same. Right. Instagram is upright and it has a 50 something minute threshold where after that it cuts off and you lose your comment streams with it. So it's really studying where you want to go and why. You know, in my case, I have a YouTube channel, so I might really look at moving my shows to YouTube just to see what it will happen. You got to kind of gauge it on where you are with your show. Because some of you guys haven't done a show yet. Okay, I got a couple of people on the screen that haven't jumped in yet. I know Curtis has jumped in, Corinthians jumped in, Karen Buster, Mr. Hamp is on his 10th show already. Cheryl Foster, Linda Clark has jumped in. Mr. Bowser is still where he was last time I saw him on the sofa. I'm just kidding. Diana, we ain't gonna talk about you. You're trying to change your background so you can look busy. Miss Lockett, she's missed the meeting because of technical stuff, but she's getting ready to jump in. And Miss Cush is on show probably 7 or 8. So for each person, it's a little different. Everybody's in a different point. Most of the people who've done their shows already are kind of comfortable, and now they can entertain adding other stations. Whereas when you're first starting, don't cloud your head. Jump in, do Facebook first, get your feet wet, and then you can always add on later on. Any other questions for Mr. Rice?
If I could say one quick thing, Poncho. Zoom is one of 100 different virtual collaboration platforms. There are a lot of different platforms out there. The one that we use is not Zoom, it's called Verbella. And it actually enables you to put your content in the space. It's a 3D space. And so we can probably have another call about that where I can show you a demo of it. But, and I believe, brother, I believe you're in the healthcare, holistic healthcare place. But so Zoom is just one of 100 different platforms, and we're kind of monitoring all the different platforms that are out there and the use cases for each one. But Zoom is great for situations like this. But there's other platforms that can do a lot more, especially if you're an artist, where you can have your art displayed throughout the 3D space.
And you got to use your imagination, because I primarily do my shows on Facebook, but I have done, me and Karen Buster both have done sales presentations in Zoom. We did the same thing we do on our shows in a Zoom environment with 60 Delta members at one time. And Karen was in her studio and I was in my studio. And we just we all talking about the list. Me and Karen had the list all scripted out, and we just went back and forth. So while I'm saying that Zoom is a conferencing platform, it's still a line between that and streaming. And so you can still do the same kind of things in the conferencing platform than you can do in a streaming platform. You got to use your imagination too, because after a while, once you get familiar with one or two of these things, your brain is going to start creating other things in between. And the most important thing is to get your feet wet, get the butterflies out your stomach, and kind of jump in. And a lot of people are waiting 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks to jump in for various reasons, because they're trying to figure out how they want to approach it. I know I teased Diana, but in Diana's case, she sells high-end work. So she still got to watch how she does her show and how she formats her show. She's also an artist herself. So without being redundant, it's about jumping in and starting to get familiar with the territory, because this is new, but it's going to be here for a long time.
What did SWOT stand for again?
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A threat is an example of when I go to Twitter and search your name, it's not you and your art, it's like a porn star. That's a threat.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. That's why you gotta do the search, right? Or at least. And
the same thing with people that have common names. You know, you think you rolling, and then all of a sudden you find somebody who might be a KKK activist.
That's right.
One thing I found, if I may, I searched my name. I don't know if it was Google or Yahoo, and someone has some artwork posted that I didn't even do, and they have my profile, my name, and everything up there on it.
That's common. I have a lot of people that have Charlie Palmer's and wax stuff under my name. That's a common thing that's going to happen. That's just one of the things that happen with
it's a selling site, and they have actually, I tried to track it down or backtrack it, and I couldn't find where it was coming from.
Right.
It wasn't just a post. It's a company that's selling art by a lot of different people, and they have taken a piece of artwork and said that and attributed it to me.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen. If I Google Larry Poncho Brown, open up the images and just scroll through them, there's going to be 10 images there that are not Larry Poncho Brown's pieces. That's just
Your name is on them?
happens. Say it again.
But your name is on them?
My name is on them. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, again, the World Wide Web is not all correct. And we're learning now that there's true information and there's false information. It's the best of both worlds, you know? So you got to kind of look at that. And that's why you want to meet somewhere in the middle and put your own content in, because it offsets the bad stuff or the negative stuff.
That's right.
I had somebody say in one of their articles that I was on the board of one of the museums. In that case, it works for me, so I didn't call them, tell them to take it down. You know, you're going to see the best of both worlds. That's why it's good to, like Aaron said, to continuously Google yourself. Most people wouldn't even think about that. It's right, you done Googled everything under the planet, but you have not Googled yourself. And there's a way for you to change your trajectory of how your work is being read online. I learned something recently, and I'm not going to get into it too deep, but this is along the same conversation. I recently, in the last 3 years, I got a Wikipedia page put up. Wikipedia is a whole platform of librarians, historians, and archivists, and they treat this like a real live encyclopedia. So it's not like a writer submitting your stuff, it's a different language. But what I learned is that your baseline of information online is kind of there now. Like, for instance, I've had the same biography on my page since websites came in. That means that revolving information, people have been copying and pasting and forwarding. Even when reporters call me, they already have that bio when they call me. So I'm saying little things like updating your bio is crucial, because when they start searching information, they sift through all that redundancy to get to who you are. And so think about that with your reach. And right now, before it was just, hey, it's just another alternative to doing website. No, it's moved into a more important space. And so you have just as right to contribute to that image as the other people do who post your stuff incorrectly.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Foster.
I'm asking for a friend who is a social nomad. If before he went to bed tonight, there was one thing that he would do to increase their presence online, what would you suggest?
I'll let Aaron answer that one first, because my answer might be bizarre.
The first thing I would do is find out where you are. And that's why that social media SWOT analysis is so important. And sometimes just getting an independent third-party opinion of where you are, because there may be some negative things online that you're unaware of, or some things that are very incongruent with your brand, that you can start targeting those individually. So I think I would start with just, okay, when I search online for me and what I do, what do I see? What is the buying public see? And I think to start doing anything else without doing that first is like planning a trip to California if you live in New York and not checking your gas tank and your oil and going to Jiffy Lube and doing all that. So that's the first thing that I would do.
And is there any time frame when information about you is stale and you should try to eliminate it?
You can eliminate it.
Oh, thank you.
The only way to push whatever you don't want on social media down
by putting new stuff in.
Is by putting new stuff on.
Right.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, what would I do if I had one single thing to do? I would simply put rest in peace Poncho and then tune out for about 2 weeks. And everybody would buzz like crazy. Then I would come back and say, hey, I'm okay. If I had one thing to do to force it, that's what I would do. But see, the social network, the environment is a game. You're presenting the image you want to present. And there's a lot of people out here who are fake. You hear stories about it all the time. So trying to survive in a platform that is both fake and real, you got to figure out how real you want to be. because I can present whatever image I want to present online, and that can work for you and against you. That's why I try to be as transparent as I can be about the image I'm trying to project online, because some of us get mad and we post things personally online. We think it's gone, and it's not gone. And lawyers now are using that to find dirt out about you now too.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think the way you want to be thinking about it is you're a media company, comma, your whatever your company name is after that.
I like that.
But you're a media company first.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfectly stated.
Wait. Say that again.
You're a media company, comma, Corinthia, whatever, you know, your business name is, but you're a media company first.
And attitude is what he's saying. Because if Corinthia, the artist first, there's a certain way you're going to govern yourself that has to do with how you do business and your personality. But if you're a media company first, it's not personal anymore. It's just certain things that you do to spread your reach. And it gives you some cushion between that media company and who you want to represent, how you want to represent yourself as an artist. So I think we all, number one, we're all being forced into multimedia. Whether you want to or not, you're being pulled in. I know you didn't want a phone either. You got all these things you don't want to do. You're being dragged in, kicking and screaming. I get it. But make it work for you. I got people who say, hey, I don't want to let friends in my Facebook page. I don't know who they are. But yet when they do a live, they get 2 people to view. Oh, excuse me. That's what happens when you do that. And so you got to figure out who you want to be. And this is an important time to figure that out, because most of us now are so used to being out and talking to people and broadening that way, word of mouth and reach to this box. And most of us don't understand the box. I mean, most of us are 50-something years old, hitting 60. This is a whole different ball game. And it's kind of working backwards because the kids have it. All I'm saying is that we have to take it upon ourselves to just learn little things and improve little things to expand your reach. And it's not hard to do. And the time it takes for you to play with your phone in the course of the day, you could have serviced all of the platforms we talked about and gone about your day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Rice before we sign off? It's about 2:30. I apologize again for the technical difficulties. I have to find out what happened, but I'm glad we got 18 people in. Me and Aaron will probably do this presentation one more time, but what I want to say to you is the analysis he just did for me in front of you guys, he can do for you, okay? If you want him to do a SWOT analysis on you and you don't have time to do all the stuff he just did, I think his fee is like $99 or something like that to do the overall thing. He has sent me my SWOT analysis in a folder in a PDF. So I can physically look at that as my game plan on what things I'm going to do first. It's the most valuable $99 you're ever going to spend. I did not charge for this session because I think you all need to entertain that. But he's got 2 tiers because he can also show you an overall way to promote what you're trying to do. So, you know, I think you guys should utilize it. Give them your information, Mr. Rice, so they can know where to contact you.
Absolutely. My cell phone number, you can text me there, you can call me there, is 443-244-0051. 443-244-0051. And you can find me on social at Aaron Rice Helps is where I am on social. Aaron Rice Helps is my brand. It's how you find me on social media. It's what I do every day, 7 days a week.
Does anybody else have any other questions pertaining to social networking outreach?
Well, I don't have a question per se, but Mr. Wright, you know, I just kind of like met you the other day in person. But, you know, I have about, I don't know, 3,500, 4,000 followers as well. And I'm one of those persons that he talked about being 60 plus. Wondering, like, I didn't just start. I've been doing my Facebook Lives every other week. And I think this is my 8th one coming up. And my biggest thing was the reach. You know, it's like I know I have the people, but I wasn't having them on my page. I had no idea some of the other things you saying that you know, could be at my fingertips, because I've seen LinkedIn and I've seen Pinterest, and I just looked at them and just kept moving. So from the aspect of seeing now, it seems like it will make a big difference if it's no more than people, you know, seeing more of who I am or what the work looks like that could probably bring them back, full circle back to me. So I thank you for that. You know, parts will be in here forever. But
I want to also highlight something that's very important. Artists are very sensitive to people stealing their intellectual property. And I know it's the thing that they don't say it when they're apprehensive about social networking. I get it. And I can always tell the most paranoid artists, because the most paranoid artists got the biggest watermark on their stuff you ever seen in your life. Like that's going to say something. Okay. So I think once you decide to jump into social, you got to understand fully what's at stake. The more you make your stuff available for people to see, the more you're going to see weird shit happen. I got stuff that's being bootlegged all over the world, but it doesn't define me. You know, once you make the trip into the World Wide Web, the www is bigger than we even think it is. See, we all think it's as big as the amount of people we have. It's vast. So my thing is, when you put yourself out there, you just got to ask yourself, are you ready to do that? You know, for instance, if you got things you don't want people to run with, then maybe you watch the stuff that you put on your page. I don't have no secrets. If it's in this studio space, it's online. And if I'm going to run into somebody that's going to bootleg it, you know what I learned about bootleggers? I'm not rich off of it, and they're not going to get rich off of it either. I may as well just focus. The best way to fight a bootlegger is create something new. You know? And then when you start looking at how much stuff gets bootlegged, it's so minimal that we shouldn't really give it energy, because we're talking about positive reach. We're talking about you reaching your base and connecting to the people that already know what you're doing. And that's more important than whatever a bootlegger could be planning to do.
And then they'll start policing the internet for you. Your community starts policing all that for you as well.
Absolutely. I get at least one call a week from somebody, or an email a week from somebody that might see something that's not real. Matter of fact, when mother was alive, she used to be one of the ones that you would call me up. You know, that's the way the reach is. But I think once you represent who you are and you have a certain amount of integrity, what you do, you're already exuding that anyway. That's why you all are doing what you do. Each one of you have dealt with the public in your own way, you know, all of us. And it's just an extension of that. But we all can do better. We all can do better. We all just got to nod our head and say, yeah, I learned something here today that I'm going to try to employ, and I'm going to see if it makes a difference. Now, this is something I want you to do today. I want you to go to the pages that you have. I want you to write the number of your reach, how many followers you have on your personal page, how many followers you have in each one of your environments. Write the number down on a sheet of paper, okay? Put the date beside it. This is something else I do on a regular. I check myself every month to see if that number grew. It's a simple thing. Sometimes you got all these networks, and I ask somebody, well, how many people you got? And they go, I don't know. What? Excuse me? Then you ain't using the social networking to help you. It's just out there. You got to make this kind of your friend, because you can connect to people in a way with this medium like you could never connect again. And I think with this new thing that just happened to us, man, sometimes the planet aligns perfectly for artists to do their thing. So technically right now, there's all these things you can do and produce that's affordable. And now you're able to connect to people who you've never been able to connect to before globally. This is the tool. This is the tool that I think a lot of us have been waiting for. Each one of you had a traveling schedule. Wouldn't you like to divide that traveling schedule in half? I don't know about you, but if I can be successful and make my money and stay right here in this room, they would never see me again. I would just go and set up a cutout right in my stand right here. Because it's a lot of work, man. You got to load, you got to plan. You gain weight eating that crazy food. You want to party while you're out there. You got housing, you got transportation, you got all these things. You're competing with 40 people, and then you still got to come back home and count the few dollars that's left. Or you could sit in your studio and make some money without even moving. You could be naked from here down, nobody would know. This is a magical time, y'all. You got to use it to your advantage. And I'm going to try to bring people like Aaron and other people on to share the information, but it's up to you to use the information. And those of you that haven't jumped in yet, jump in, because this conversation is going to mean something different after you jump in. Now, I got some folks that's on the fence. They've been on the fence for weeks. I see their name pop up in all our streams. It's time to leap.
So I'm thinking this month that I'm gonna just change my link to direct people to my Facebook business.
How many people on your personal page?
I know you've asked me that already.
I know,
but
but
I'm saying I want to put.
No, remember, this is not a one-on-one conversation with me and you. You got 70, almost 20 people listening. So you might be helping them by your question. So I ask you again, how many people on your personal page and how many people on your business page?
There are probably more people on my personal page, but this would be my third or fourth show. So my thing is to be proactive and to move the Facebook lives onto the business page.
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
That's a fancy answer for not knowing the number. But I'm gonna follow you. I usually tell people when you're starting the first time, I'm gonna get you in there, Rice. My personal opinion is you should go where the number's the highest. Now, ultimately, your business page has a bigger reach than your private page does. But when you're first getting momentum into your show, I believe you should do it on the page that has a larger number, and then you strategize getting to the other channel. That's what I believe. Go ahead, Mr. Rice.
I would also encourage everybody to think larger as well. That live stream that you're doing should be on LinkedIn and Twitter as well, and YouTube, right? Reach the full, and then when it's done, repurpose it and get it out to all the networks. So now you're not caught up in personal page, business page. When it's done, it's going everywhere.
Well, I'm going to add something to that that's very important because, again, Mr. Rice is explaining to you about reach, but I'm talking to you now and translate it into orders. When you go to 4 different platforms and you got 4 different streams to follow, it's going to seriously complicate how you do ordering. So I still say, still be a little conservative. Pick 1 or 2 that work until you get the hang of it. Now, I'm being faced with a situation where I had to hire people to help me fulfill my orders, okay? I had to have somebody help me print out my shipping labels, okay? Now I'm still doing my invoicing. I have to train somebody that I trust to go into my PayPal or my Square to build my invoices. So I'm saying that this is a business proposition. If you just right now, if this is just a hustle for you, keep it simple and keep hustling. It's okay. But I think at some point, if you really want to try to make some headway, you can make a lot of corrections right now by how you do your business. You know, so yes, pick a page that has the most number, but remember, as long if you add 2 or 3 platforms, that's 2 or 3 more comment streams you got to track for your orders, and be ready for that.
Poncho.
Yes.
First, I'm one of those mid-60 plus people coming into this, you know. So I want to first thank you all, Mr. Rice, and everybody here for being here and for opening this up. Yeah, this is a huge, I'm willing, I'm nervous, I'm willing, I'm learning. It's a huge learning curve. I've just noticed lately, you know, my brain learns a little differently, but it's, if I'm going to do this and be this vulnerable, I'm so grateful to have a place where I can be vulnerable and nervous and scared and learn at the same time. So I just want to thank you. Thank everybody here for creating this kind of space for, you know, folk like me to come and step into our greatest yet to be and expand and to just lean into this tremendous opportunity that's opened up, you know. And this pandemic and everything that's going on is the creativity that I see around me is astounding.
Yep, that's
You
what
know?
time we in.
And the opportunities for artists everywhere, it's astounding. So I'm grateful to lean into it and to have so many a capable community.
Well, you know, thank you for that, Nefertiti. But I want to say to you that everybody that started this thing was nervous. And they're lying to you if they told you they wasn't. Okay? Everybody was. If you weren't nervous, I'm already questioning where you came from. Okay? But what happens is this is not rocket science either. I'm not asking you to do magical equations. I'm asking you to just follow through with simple actions. Social networking is not very complicated, but it does require a continuity and a commitment. There's that word again. So once you make the commitment to expanding your reach, it's not that difficult because, see, all of us have this talent to connect to people too. That's part of who we are as creatives or as practitioners. It doesn't matter who you are, what sector you are. You already, in this new world, have a following. I don't care if it's 2 or 10,000. It doesn't matter. A following is a following. We all have that in common. We all have that in common. And how you want to address that is completely up to you. What I'm saying now is open your head. For those of you that are in the 60 bracket, and I'm about to bust my head on 60 like right now. But you know where I get my most information and connectivity? The youngsters. You got kids, you got grandkids running through right now. They could take that phone of yours and do all the stuff we talked about in less than 5 minutes. So if you're not going to encourage yourself, now I told you what I'm doing. The kids that pack my shipping people are 2 children. They're 17 and 18 years old. The girl who does my invoicing is 30, but they can use the phone like crazy. So you got to also find a staff of people that's willing to help you. The guy that's doing my packing just asked me, Mr. Poncho, can I take over your Instagram? And he showed me where he helped somebody else get 20,000 viewers. What you think I'm going to do? So we got to step outside of our comfort zone. That's the nervousness. The nervousness is just a comfort zone. It has nothing to do with posting a picture, with a description. That's nothing to be scared of, you know? So it's just putting it in the right perspective. I'm glad you shared that, but sometimes we use the wrong words to describe where we are. I understand being intimidated by technology. That's real. But how long were you intimidated with the phone you got? Not very long. And you might use one part of your phone, but you know how to hang. You already, by default, if you already on this screen, you're doing 2 or 3 things now that we weren't doing 10, 20 years ago. So we can't reduce ourselves down to, hey, we 60, so we can't grasp it. It's not true. You got to grasp it with every bit of technology you bring in your house, from your Wi-Fi to your smart TV to your phone. And the stuff we're talking about is way less complicated than those things. It just takes a commitment. And so with that, we're going to give Mr. Rice the floor the last time. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make a comment to Corinthia, something that has helped me, and it's definitely part of a process, just like Poncho and Aaron have both said. It's a process to get to that place. But what I have found is to get people to follow my business page, you go to your business page and do the invite. So you invite everybody that's on your personal page to join your business page. That works very, very well, because if they're already following you personally, they're probably interested in what you're doing from a business perspective. So just go onto your business page, click invite everybody. Some will come kind of join the fray, but as you're doing your other stuff, they'll start to migrate over to your business, and then you can transfer to doing your lives on your business page.
And
so
Corinthia, I have an excellent solution for you, Corinthia. If you notice it in my last few shows, while people are chiming in, I'm walking around the studio with music playing. I know y'all think I'm tripping, right? Normally I do that so I'm not staring in the screen for 4 minutes for people to log in. But what I'm also doing is I'm going to my computer and I'm sharing my stuff to pages. So I have a third page that I share the show to while I'm waiting for people to load in. So you might need another device next to you, but you can solve your problem by, while you're waiting, share it from your personal page to your business page directly. See, you're telling other people to share it, but it becomes a direct share. You still got those two channels working, and you can do that from just sharing while people are logging in. Because
And I'm sorry, I was going to say to her that when I did mine, I have 2 pages, and there was a place when I went to do my live that allowed me to share it on a second page. So people were seeing it on 2 pages on Facebook.
Another thing that I want to add, thank you for that. I want to thank you for that, Linda. I want to tell you something else is happening. Now, some of y'all, how many of you by raise of hands are using a desktop or a laptop computer? Okay, you see what happened with Linda? She has a different interface to get into her page that Facebook just changed the interface to get into live. They're trying to accommodate other platforms like StreamYard and Switcher and all those other things with this platform. If you're using a phone or a tablet, you will not see that interface. Yeah. And so all of you folks that are using a laptop have seen it. When you went in, it looked different and you had to figure out what to do. But that platform is actually going to make it easier for you to share it in multiple locations. So take some time and learn how to do that if you are on a desktop or a laptop. It's totally different. Okay? And they just updated that about 3 weeks ago.
Yes, and also, Larry, you can present your page on the Facebook Live too now. At least I could. I saw an option to present, and I tried it, and it worked. Because I remember.
Can you repeat what you said, Linda? You said something about
when you
show it on both pages.
Yes, well, I have 2 business pages and a personal page. And when I set it up on my photography page because following Larry about the one that has the most followers, I set it up on that page, but there was an option in the navigation on the left when you're starting it before you go live to share it on other pages. And it gives you a drop down of all the pages that you have and you can share it to there. So you'll actually be simulcasting.
Okay, I'll look.
Yeah, that's a wonderful new feature that's about 3 weeks old. So
yeah,
if you guys
there the first time I did it, and then this last show, which was last Thursday, it was there, and I tried it. So it's shared on both my photography page and my fluid art page and the personal page.
So then my question goes to next, as Poncho addressed, is the ordering. Is all the streaming going to the one, or are we? That's what my next question would be. Is the streaming going to 2 pages or is it all condensing?
No, it's
going to 2 pages.
2 pages.
So then you got to grab the comments from both pages.
Yeah, no, in her case you wouldn't.
No.
Because you're sharing the show, you're sharing streams. In my case, because I'm putting a second camera, I'm carrying 2 streams. So again, this is complicated. We got to really have an advanced live tribe session because everybody's learning something different, and Facebook is updating because they got to compete with the whole conferencing and streaming world, how it's moving forward too. And you got all these groups now and all these other pages and platforms you can do this from, and so it's an inundation of information right now. So what I'm going to be doing is trying to bring you people to help keep you current on what's happening. But I'm really relying on my folks that have been doing streaming for a period of time to give me feedback on some of the things they're experiencing, because I think a lot of us are learning little tricks that we're not able to share. Any other questions for Mr. Rice? It is 2:51.
No, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Rice. I appreciate your information. It was valuable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would advise you all, please, a couple of y'all, make sure y'all get y'all thing done. Get the SWOT analysis done. That's your homework. When he gave me the SWOT analysis, now I know exactly what I need to focus on first, and I'm not inundated with all the stuff I got to do. I could just pick up one or the other. You might be doing one really well and just might start with improving the other for right now. But let him do the SWOT analysis for you, and take that as homework for you to help improve your reach.
You eat an elephant a bite at a time.
Amen.
Bite at a time.
All right, everybody. We will probably be doing this session again. For those that missed it, we had about maybe 20 people in at one point. I want to thank you all for tuning in and taking time for your day. if you guys have specific questions or things you want me to do sessions on, let me know and I'll put something together. I can tell you that I'm going to be doing some sessions for all of the artists on how to publish work, because most artists are really confused about how that works now, and I'm not. So we're going to do that. And any other thing I think that will help benefit you with moving on with your shows. I hope you guys are not looking at this as a hit or miss situation. Most of you who are doing shows now are, how many by the raise of hands have now starting to garner a certain percentage of your sales every week by a show of hands? All right, all right. No, I ain't say show it and then drop it. You know, you got people watching. How many folks out there showing a consistent amount of sales on their work? Karen Y. Buster, your hand is not up. All right, you see what I'm saying? It's real. So jump in. Mr. Rice, I want to thank you for your time and your wisdom.
Thank you, Poncho.
I'll be bringing you back on so you can help them out. I'm going to call you and find out who has made the commitment, because I'm going to track y'all. I track all of y'all.
Diana's already sent me a text, so she's up.
Fantastic. That's what I'm talking about. That's SWOT analysis is the best $99 you're going to spend.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that have a reputation and a little bit of a following, the next big thing we're going to talk about is Wikipedia.
I see you, Karen.
Wait, I need really quickly, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but can you sell the SWOT analogy one more time for me, please? What am I going to gain? I'm not clear. That's why I'm asking. I'm not clear. What would I gain from a SWOT analogy that I can't just go and do myself?
So what you get is an independent third-party perspective to a 30,000-foot view of, I'm a buyer of your product. Is it congruent across all the different networks? I want to hone in on a network that I like myself, for example. And it might be Twitter. Twitter might be my thing. But if I don't see you and your product on Twitter, then I might go to someone else who I do see on Twitter who might be your competition. YouTube is my thing. I want to see your content on YouTube. And so it's basically an independent third-party perspective of, when I go on social media networks, here's what I see, and then here are my suggestions on how you can improve that. All that's included with the analysis. And so you can choose to correct it on your own. You can choose to work with me so we can correct it together, or you can choose to hire me to correct it on your behalf.
And I can tell you from personal experience, I mean, I think I do probably better than most people do in the social networking environment. And it even helped me. It helped me say, okay, I'm seeing success here, 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 and here. But now he gave me at least 3 things I need to work on that will immediately change my reach. And so the bigger piece is that when you're doing certain things right, you're not open to what's not right. So he's also give you an objective view outside of what you're comfortable with. So it automatically pulls you out of your comfort zone in the areas where you might be struggling. And so I would advise you to kind of just think about that, because I know you're doing a lot of things well, okay? But this conversation is not about what you're doing well. It's about what you're not doing well.
And I can tell you from experience, I'm on social media in a lot of places, but it's not congruent, like he says. That's why I need help with that. You need to tie all this stuff together so, as he said, they can go from one platform to the other, and they know it's you, they know it's your work, and they know, where to find you. So that's why I signed up immediately.
And all of us have different situations. In Diana's case, she's an artist and she's a dealer, but she's probably more of a dealer than she's an artist. And so in this environment, she gets a chance to really play with expanding whatever part she wants to expand on. All of us have different things we're trying to do. For me, I have worked in about 500,000 homes right now since 1985. My goal is to make it to 1 million, and I can't do it by myself. This is going to be the way that I do that. And so we all got to have different goals about our reach. I'm really serious about my reach because it allows me to stay in this room. And I can come out when I feel like coming out. I love that. So whatever I got to pay to do that, I look at the money I wasted on the average trip, and I'm putting it now back into my social networking stuff, and it's making a big difference. So I think also, before we wrap up, sometimes you can be having success in one realm so long that when you reach another plateau or going into another market, you bring the ideology you had on this side with you. This is different, y'all. This requires a certain amount of rewiring because it's unlike anything we've been exposed to. And so you'll find that where you're going to crash is those places that are outside of that zone that you're very familiar with. This is new territory for all of us. But it's a safe territory if you take it objectively, one step at a time. So just hang in there, open your head up. You already know one side of this like the back of your hand. Now you want to learn what the front of your hand look like. You know, we know a lot. It's a lot of experience on this screen. I mean, I got some of the toughest vendors in the world on this screen. Corinthia is one of them. That Adrian Lockett in the corner, she's quiet, but she's a beast. She's a beast vendor. When I say a beast vendor, she can go to any state, USA, and she can come home with money. She's been doing it for a very, very long time. Matter of fact, I might have a vendor circle for some of you folks just kind of passive because these guys don't play. Diana Shannon is one of the top 5 Black art dealers in the country. She's been to every national convention there is. She knows the artist, she knows the industry. So the people that's in this group are not just run-of-the-mill people. The people in this group are folks that have aspirations to expand their reach. And so, man, this is a great and a golden opportunity. It's up to you what you get from it. But we got to step outside of our heads. So that third-party perspective, it can be a lot of wisdom in third-party perspective in an area where you might not be familiar. Mr. Rice, I want to thank you for your time. You guys can unmute and clap for Mr. Rice for his time and his wisdom.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will be doing this again. For those of you that missed out, I'm going to try to see what I did wrong with the linkage this time. We had a little bit of a setback, but we still got almost 20 people on, so that's great. You guys have a good evening. We're signing off.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's what you do on the.
Did somebody, is that people doing that? Other people doing that? No, but mommy, do you see this? Come on now, you got to work.